Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. We're glad to be back. It feels like it's been a while, although you guys have been hearing from us, but we did a 2-week interview with Megan and Casey from Marriage 365. We've been helping them to promote their book that just came out on December the 3rd. And if you haven't picked up your copy, it is called 365 Connection Questions for Couples. And you need to go get a copy of this.
Connecting questions.
What'd I say?
Connection questions.
Oh, shoot. Sorry. 365 Connecting Questions for Couples. So go
didn't want somebody to Google the wrong thing.
My bad. Go get your copy. And if you haven't listened, the two sessions that last two episodes were really good. It was an interview with them. It was so long because we talked too much, so we had to split it up.
Especially with them.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun with them. But it was great because we were actually out of town last week, and it was good that we had that already recorded.
Start spreading the news.
We was in New York. We went to New York with the most fun couple, and
it was so much fun, and we had never been to New York.
Nope.
So we were celebrating my 50th birthday. That's what we just claimed that as. We were like, we're going to New York 2 weeks after my birthday. So that's definitely a time to celebrate it.
Yep. It was so much fun. We had a blast.
So much fun.
But so now we're back and we're in the swing of things just in time for us to take a break.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
we swung back in for 1 week.
Swung back in, but we wanted to give you guys a heads up. So this is a little bit of our housekeeping right here at the beginning. Then we're going to jump right into what we have for you guys today. But we wanted to let you know that for the next 2 weeks, we're not going to have a podcast at all. We're not even going to do a replay of. We've done that a couple of times this year when we've just had to be out, but we're just going to take a break, and we're going to let you guys kind of catch up. But this episode comes out just about a week before Christmas. And then, of course, next week is the week of Christmas, and then the next week is the week of, not Thanksgiving. New Year's. And so we're just going to take those 2 weeks off, and our boys are home for the holidays, and we're going to soak up that time and just give you guys a chance to maybe catch up if you're still wanting to listen to some episodes. We are getting really close to almost 200 episodes of this thing.
Really?
Well, I think we're at about 180, somewhere around in there, really close to that. So I'm thinking there's probably very few out there that have listened to all one. But I know there's some.
If you have, let us know.
Yeah, but if you're not one of those, then go back and just binge and catch up during the holidays, and then we'll be back at the first of the year. But we want to give everybody some time off. We know that the holidays is really weird for podcasting anyway because people aren't in their regular rhythm of when and where they listen to podcasts. So we're just going to take these 2 weeks off, and but we wanted to come back today. And we wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas, and we wanted to talk about something really important that we feel is very prevalent in the holiday season. Last thing, if you have not downloaded this year's copy
12 dates of Christmas
of the 12 new dates of Christmas, right now it is the most downloaded marriage resource that we have produced. And so if you want to go to our website, theredeemedmarriage.com, and something will probably pop up, but there's also a banner at the top where you can just click on it and put in your email address, and it will send it right to you. It's pretty cool. 12
and we've gotten
new dates.
Some pictures from people on their dates that are like, we used y'all's ideas, and they're fun, and it brings us lots of joy to be able to see those. That's
right. So send us, there's a couple of dates in there that we probably should not see
Don't
pictures.
Send us pictures.
But, we would love to see it. That's fun. So, okay. Is there anything else?
I don't think so.
All right. So we're ready to roll with this thing.
Yeah. And if you aren't listening to this.
That's the other thing. We're back on YouTube. Because the last 2 weeks we weren't able to do it because of the interview.
So we came home from church. Our church is not very dressy, but we sang this morning at my dad's home church, and it is dressy. And you had on a coat and tie. I mean, not a coat and tie, a dress shirt and tie.
Well, we all had to. We
Right.
were in a
Right.
we were in a program.
Yeah, but you had that on.
Right.
And I have on, fancy leather pants and a pretty sweater.
Heather's wearing leather pants. Can't anyone else see that Heather's wearing leather pants?
Name that TV show. But we came home and I said, "Are we just going to go ahead and do our podcast in this?" And you said, "Absolutely not." So he went and changed and put on a hoodie. But I was like, I don't want to change into a different outfit because once this comes off, I'm putting on my quitters.
Hey, people like to see me in hoodies. People that we do marriage coaching with sometimes go, "Do you ever wear anything besides a hoodie?"
Nope.
Not very often. I don't have a lot of hair up here, so sometimes I have to throw the hoodie on top to just make sure that I don't freeze.
Drives me crazy.
It's okay. She loves me anyway. All right. Hey, let's jump into this. So here's the thing. One song that has been stuck in my head this whole Christmas season, which I know we're only 15. What is this? The 15th when we're recording this? I keep hearing the song, "It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year."
Mm-hmm.
Like that keeps going in my head. And it's a great song. And yes, it is the most wonderful time of the year, especially for those of us that are believers, because it is the story of Jesus' birth. So when our Savior, who came to redeem us, redeem the world, redeem our marriage, that's the birth that we're celebrating. So yes, it's the most wonderful time of the year. And there's also elements of it that are so wonderful. Like for us this year, both of our boys, most everybody knows we've been empty nesters, and one of our boys hasn't been home since July the 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So having him home, having Luke home for the holidays, having Logan home from college, his first semester, wrapping up at college. So it's pretty great. It is a wonderful time for that. But I also think that we really need to acknowledge that in the midst of the most wonderful time of the year, it can also be the most difficult time of the year for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we've had seasons of difficult times. And to be honest, even these last few weeks and anticipating what's to come, even though we're going to be in the midst of the most wonderful time of the year, I think there's some hard times. There's things that are just different, uncomfortable, whatever it is. So we want to acknowledge that. And I think today, you mentioned to me, let's just talk about how the pain that can kind of rise to the surface during the holiday season, what do we do with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that first of all, maybe we need to acknowledge what some of those pain points are.
Yeah. When I was thinking about, there's so many people that hurt during this holiday season. Whether it's marriage, I would think that most of the people who are listening to this podcast, they've found us because there's hurt in their marriage or they want to make it better and there's something lacking maybe in their marriage. And so I do think that there are a lot of people that are reminded of betrayal, are reminded that maybe things aren't like they dreamed that they would be. I think that that's a danger in this season is everything is so glorified as perfect, people sitting around the Christmas tree and laughing and sitting around the dinner table and there's not movies about the hurt that goes along with that. And so I think that even, we've joked for all the years in the past about how much I love Hallmark movies. My friend literally texted me 15 minutes ago and said, "Okay, I know you've been watching them. What are the best ones so far this year?" Because she wanted to watch a couple with her daughter. And so, I do love a Hallmark movie, and I love that they always end happy and everything always works out. But that's not real life. And there's so much hurt that people are going through, whether it's betrayal, whether it's unmet expectations, whether it's just, I didn't think my marriage was going to turn out like this, or I can't believe that my marriage and our family is in the season that it's in. And maybe you're looking at it and you're like, I know this is just a season, but it still hurts. It still is hard. I also think about people who may have lost someone. It could be loss of a parent, loss of a child, loss of grandparent, loss of spouse. There are people out there that have lost someone near and dear to them. And then here we are celebrating this most wonderful time of the year. And it's like, yeah, but what about me? Because I do feel maybe unseen or unheard or undervalued because of what I'm walking through. So I just, when we were talking about what to talk about today, I think last year we did, songs and movies and talked about that. And Christmas is really fun. And it is by far my favorite holiday that we have. And I love the focus on family, but that focus on family can be really, really hard for people. And so I just didn't want to go into this Christmas season into, if you're listening to this on time, Christmas is next week. And knowing that there's going to be hard times, there's going to be fights, there's going to be disagreements, there's going to be unmet expectations, there's going to be harsh words, there's going to be a lot of things that our hearts aren't prepared for because we think it is just going to be a perfect thing. I know that marriage is not perfect. I know that our life has not been perfect. And it still surprises me when things don't go according to plan, because I just have this ideal of what it's going to be like. And with our boys being home and our relationship and what all, shopping together, and that we would never have any disagreements about money when around the shopping season. And I mean, we know that to not be true. And so I just think that it's very important for people to be alert and aware and their hearts prepared for not perfection.
Yeah. Well, and I've even thought a lot about just the I'm going to just say the normal, average, everyday married person that's listening to this, that maybe they don't have the big pain trigger points. I think everybody probably has something,
Sure.
But maybe they don't have like what you were saying. And I just started thinking about even the pain or the disappointment, I guess, or the hard season that comes with just even a change in schedule. Like, people get so excited about, oh, we got 2 weeks off from school, and then the kids come home, and it's just like, whoa, when can we start a rhythm again? Like, these expectations, they end up being hard. And for those of you that have teenagers, like, we know how that goes too, that teenagers are it's like a roller coaster. And so there may be one day where everything's great, and then the next day, it's like they're yelling and screaming. It's just that kind of thing happens with the just everyday normal families. And so we want to acknowledge that all of those things, transitions, and for us, that's a big thing. We've been transitioning a lot this year into different. You laugh.
It just makes me laugh.
Well,
when you say that.
I know that's a word that
has a different connotation
these days. Yeah, but we have lived, a season of transition, and so our Christmas season is going to be that way too, because we have a kid that's going to move. We have a kid that's going to, go back to college, and so everything's just really different.
Yeah.
And so all of that to say, we want to give you guys, first of all, we just want to validate and speak into the fact that you're all normal. We're all normal. And the fact that there's hard times that come through the most wonderful time of the year it's not, it's normal, but it also doesn't have to be crippling or debilitating. And so we want to give you guys just some encouragement and some hope in that, and maybe even tell you some things that we were able to do, especially early on when we had really the painful memories that would pop up at Christmas time.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times these things that we're talking about, like you said, you don't want it to debilitate you or cripple you. Like, it's okay to have moments that hurt, and it's okay to have things that happen that didn't go as planned, but how you combat that is not letting it derail you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can remember times where even it just didn't go like I had in my mind. In my mind, everything was going to go according to plan, and it was going to be a beautiful day or a beautiful time with family or a time with the boys. And when it didn't go that way, it would completely derail me, and I would be off track for days.
Can I jump in here? Because no, I just thought about this. You, especially as we were young, newlyweds, even when we were dating, I think that you were sort of the queen of expectations being really big.
Yep.
And, you would play things up so big in your mind and want everything to just go perfectly and be perfect. And you still have a little bit of that in you, but not near as much. And as you were just saying all that, I started thinking about how we're about to look at, think through some of the positives that happen with pain and how it restructures your life and refocuses your priorities and all that. And honestly, I think that might be what changed you so much, is because when our marriage did not turn out the way that either one of us were expecting it to at year number 15, then all of those big, high expectations for you, it then became, okay, well, that didn't really go according to plan. And then to watch what's happened over the last 13 years of our redemption story, I think that it's helped you to kind of just sit back and go, I'm not in charge here. Like, I'm not in charge here, and I'm not the one that, and everybody else is not responsible for my happiness and for trying to make my expectations and all of my dreams come true. And so I think that I mean, just to say it bluntly, you're much more pleasant to be around.
Well, thanks.
in just the way that you handle, like, it's just kind of like, we'll go with the flow. Because I feel like the last 13 years of our marriage have been, it's almost like we've had to go with the flow. We've just had to follow a different road and a different path than we ever thought or dreamed of. And so much of that is sitting back and letting God take the reins of it.
Well, and I'm sorry.
No, that's it. Go.
And what I was going to say about that is, when you say let go, the picture that I have in my mind and try to remind myself of is that we have to live open-handedly. And that's a big lesson that I learned in our journey through infidelity, is that the moment that I chose to step out of the boundary of marriage, the dream of what our marriage was going to be was shattered. Because it looked nothing like the fairy tale. It looked nothing like what we dreamed, what I dreamed as a little girl it was going to look like. And then as we dreamed together about what our marriage was going to look like, it just completely shattered. And in that moment, and as I learned to trust God with it and knowing He had a plan in it and a purpose in it, not that it was part of His plan, but He's definitely going to use it. Like, using it is part of His plan. And so being able to live open-handedly, and it's almost like I say each morning, okay, God, what are you going to do today? It's not, how are you going to use me? It's not, what am I going to do for you? It's, what are you up to today? How can I be open-handed and available for you to use me? Whether it's as a mom, as a teacher, as a marriage coach, but most importantly, as a wife. Like, how are you going to use me today? Not please get on board with what I'm doing, because that's going to lead into, derailing again. But it's, okay, God, what are you up to today? And how can I join you in that? And so it's just a shift of perspective. And, you said that I was the queen of having a plan, and I did. Like, I built up every Christmas of it being perfection. And then when it didn't go that way, sorry, that was a mouthful and I messed that up.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't even hear it? Okay, good. Okay,
I
good.
was like, why are you stopping? That's good.
But I would build it up into this huge expectation, and without fail, it was a disappointment because there was no way anybody was going to live up to that. Like, you didn't react the way I thought you would. The boys didn't say thank you in the way I thought they would. They didn't love something that I thought they were gonna love. You didn't wake up and fix my coffee that would have made it the perfect Christmas morning. It just was always a letdown because my perspective was so messed up and it was so focused on me and what I thought it was going to be. And that I am so thankful that God changed that in me, and so thankful that He used disappointment and He used failure to draw me closer to Him and draw us closer to Him. And only God can do that.
Well, I think we're kind of leading, I guess, to almost wrap up a little bit with this and what you want to share, I know, is that what we did, and so this is our encouragement to you guys, is that we, all along the way of our journey, but even especially as it hit Christmas time, we focused on positive a lot because, yes, it is the most wonderful time of the year. Yes, you can put all of your attention on Jesus and what He did for us. But then we also would turn it and not twist it, but we would just flip it 180 and say, my goodness, how different could this be right now? And even to this day, I think that there's an element of that when we get our family together and start thinking about, man, what if we were going in different, if our kids were splitting time because we didn't make it and we didn't stay together and all of that kind of stuff. And just the whole grateful and thankful for where we are. But I do think a big part of it too is that we never got to a place where we were like, okay, let's just put on our big boy pants and big girl pants and make it to December the 26th or make it to January the 2nd and then start back living life again. Let's just fake it, put on our mask or whatever. It was, hey, this is okay. Like, this is where we are. Mm-hmm. This is life, and we're in this together. And even when there were hard moments, it's not like we would announce it to our kids and hey, let's have a family conference all of a sudden. We want to tell y'all how much pain we're in because of the things that we're thinking about. This, nothing like that. But it was, you and I knew that it was okay to not be okay. And then we would just lift up and encourage each other, because I think what we realized in all that was that because of the pain, we knew that God was writing a story. Mm-hmm. And to remove us from that pain, or for us to fake our way through the pain or try to brush the pain aside, then we weren't allowing God to do His work in the midst of that pain.
Yeah, it's a good word.
So I know that, I don't know if that ties in with what you were.
No, absolutely.
I was listening to a little bit of what you were doing a while ago, and I felt like that was a tie-in.
Yeah, it is, because I can look at the birth of Jesus in two very different ways. The first way is being so thankful for the fact that baby came and saved me, saved our marriage. If you're listening and you're like, I don't even know what that means, that He saved you. I mean, like we are all sinners and we all fall short. And Jesus came in the manger so that He could then die for us on a cross and save us from our sins. That covers the sin of infidelity. It covers whatever sin you're sitting with. Whether it's the betrayal, whether it's the sin of pornography, it covers it all. So if you're listening to this and you have been redeemed and restored, then it should overwhelm you that Jesus came to do that for you. And so this Christmas season, it brings about such gratitude as a reminder of who I would be without him, who I would be without that baby coming all those years ago. And so that's the first the first lens I can look through. The second one is for the person who's thinking, yeah, that's great, but that's not my story. My husband left. My wife left. My husband or wife doesn't have the desire to get back together. Or no matter how hard I try, it's just not getting any better. And I mean, I know of people who are listening to this that their spouse has said, we're done. Mm-hmm. And that's heartbreaking. It helps to remember that God is not just a God of the good things, but he's also a God when things are bad. Mm. And he's also in control of that when things are not going the way you want them to. This week I was flipping through Instagram. Actually, somebody sent this reel to me, and I don't know if I can get in trouble for this. Can I get in trouble for this? The only thing I know to give credit to is finding his fingerprints, is what this came from. I'm not going to play it. I'm going to read it. But I want to say this to the person who is still walking through it, who is going through a time where they're like, I need that baby who came in the manger to rescue me from this mess that I'm in. And the way to do that is to not put the focus on you or the disappointment or the expectations or the sadness, but to put your hope back in that baby. And, okay, I'm going to read it to you. It goes like this. It says this: I would have pulled Joseph out of that pit, out of that prison, and out of that pain, but I would have cheated nations out of the one God would use to deliver them from famine. I would have pulled David out of Saul's spear-throwing presence, out of the cave he hid away in, out of the pit and the pain and of rejection. But I would have cheated Israel out of a God-hearted king. I would have pulled Esther out of being snatched from her family, out of being placed in a position she never asked for, out of a path of a vicious, power-hungry foe. But I would have cheated people out of the woman God would use to save their lives. I would have pulled Jesus off of that cross, off of the road that led to suffering and pain, off of the path that would be nakedness and beatings, nails and thorns. But I would have cheated the entire world out of a Savior, out of salvation, out of an eternity filled with no more suffering, no more pain. And oh, friend, I want to pull you out. I want to change your path. I want to stop your pain. But right now I know I would be wrong. I would be out of line. I would be cheating you and cheating the world out of so much good, because God knows. He knows the good this pain will produce. He knows the beauty this hardship will grow. He's watching over you and keeping you even in the midst of this. He's promising that you can trust him even when it all feels like more that you can bear. And I just love that, because I feel like there are so many people out there. I mean, we counsel them that I just wish I could end the hurt. I wish that I could say, you know what? You don't have to do this anymore. You don't have to hurt. You don't have to suffer. You don't have to wish that things were better. Let's just, I'm going to pull you out of that so it can be over. But it would be cheating you out of what God can do in your story. So if you are listening to this and Christmas, the season seems painful, then know that God is going to use it. He is going to draw you closer to himself. It is an opportunity for you to lean into him. to get your eyes off of all of the things that have gone wrong or all of the things that you wish were different, and put your eyes back on that baby that came for us to save us, and to have hope that things can be better, and to have hope that God is for your marriage. He is for you. He is with you, and that He is going to that He's going to never leave you, and He's going to be with you all along the way.
So good. And guys, as we're wrapping up, we just want you to know that we know what it's like to feel pain and just the unmet expectations and the disappointment and all that comes with marriage, and that resurfaces when it's Christmas time. So we understand that firsthand, and so we recognize where you are, and we want to provide you with that hope that Heather just shared with you, and it was beautifully said. And we just want to wish you a Merry Christmas, and we want you to recognize this is the most wonderful time of the year, no matter where you are and no matter what you're feeling at this time of the year. And hey, even though we're not going to be on our podcast for the next couple of weeks, if you're just in a place where you need some prayer and extra lifting up this Christmas season, just shoot us a message, and we'll be glad to do that for you, because we've been there and we know what it feels like. All right, guys, we're going to say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
We're also going to say Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Because the next time we come to you, it will be 2025. Unbelievable. We're looking forward to a great 2025 and journeying with you and your marriage. So until then,
peace.